Hi, everybody. My name is Susan Veach. Yes, I am the real Susan Veach. Um, I don't like doing videos. I hate getting my picture taken, but I kind of got backed into a corner here. And had people badgering me and um, basically saying that I'm delusional, I'm a liar, I'm emotional. Um, the same people put out videos against me. So I guess, so I'm kind of defending myself because I don't like bullies. Um, Let me start off with Artari did a video today stating that why it could not be Kenny in the CCTV footage, even though, and I have documents, I have messages and everything else from family members that identify Kenny, and I have shared them before, but I did a video earlier this morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sharing it with Warlock Raph, and he can download it. I'll put it public on my channel too, and you can see it. But this is kind of addressing the video that she did. She talks about she talks about hair loss and hair loss in 7 years. You can't compare Kenny's hair loss to strangers, to her grandfather. You can't even really compare it to his own father because there's 5 boys and 1 girl, and each brother has different their hair is falling out in different ways. If Raymond's hair is he's got a 5 head, not even a 4 head. His is in front. Jerry and his dad and Teddy, my ex-husband, they started getting bald spots on the back, just like Kenny. And if you look at the CCTV footage, genetics did not pass Kenny by. In the CCTV footage, there's Kenny's bald spot, and it's identical. It's identical to if you go to his video, I think it's the one where he's holding the snake, you can clearly see the bald spot, and the guy in the video has a bald spot identical to Kenny. As for Jeff Claw made a comment that Artari is an artist, and since she says it's not Kenny, she's good at facial recognition because she's an artist. Well, I don't know about you, but I've seen her art, and not one of them is a live model. She does a one-dimensional drawing of another one-dimensional drawing. That does not make her a facial recognition artist. I'm not saying she's a bad artist. I'm just saying her skills are one-dimensional. So you can't compare the multi-dimensional Kenny to a one-dimensional person. The person you see on his videos are one-dimensional. The persona that comes across, it's acting. There's parts of Kenny in there, but there's a lot of stuff that's not Kenny. He's doing this for the audience. That's so for people to say that they know Kenny better because they watched the video, that's just absurd. It doesn't even make sense. Jeff Claw made a comment today that the guy in the CCTV footage does not move like a 55-year-old. Well, I hope to God not, because Kenny was not 55 when the break-in happened. Kenny was born in 1966. The break-in happened in 2018, July of 2018. So he wasn't even 52 yet. He was actually 51 when that video was taken. So when Jeff says, do the math, and he measured Kenny's forehead, and the math, he said, math doesn't lie. Well, Jeff, you need to do the math because Kenny's not 55. He was only 51 when he did that video. And if you want to measure foreheads, if you look at me in the HLN documentary, my hair was combed back and now I have bangs. You can measure my forehead, but it's going to be different because the amount of hair that's showing. You cannot base identification on a forehead. I don't know of any law enforcement that does it. I don't know of the CIA doesn't do it, the FBI, NASA, none of those do it. If they did, if it was that easy where you could download a free app and measure somebody's forehead, there would be imagine thousands of dollars these law enforcement would say instead of hiring high-tech equipment and professionals. So for him to say that the math doesn't lie is beyond ridiculous, just beyond ridiculous. The one thing that, oh, and they keep saying that he's too young. Why is he too young? Because his hair's dark? If you watch the HLN documentary, there was a surveillance expert on there, surveillance and security expert on there, and he stated clearly that it was done in infrared. Well, in infrared, when you're filming, dark things look darker, and white things, well, they almost practically glow. If you look at the CCTV, God, I hate that word, CCTV footage, yes, Kenny's hair looks dark in it, but if you look at the paper that is sitting on the desk, it glows almost like it's under a black light, and that's from the infrared. That has nothing to do with how young or old Kenny's is. It's just the way the infrared films it. And you know what? For everybody to dismiss the family as emotional, you obviously don't know the family. This is the same. The family you're accusing of being emotional did not post anything on Facebook when Kenny went missing, has not posted any memorials. They have not reached out to the news companies and asked them to do updates on the anniversary of Kenny's disappearance to keep his name up there and alive in the public. They haven't done any of that. Does that sound emotional to you? Not only that, when Vicky, Sharon, and Ray all filmed the HLN documentary, they did it in December of 2020. I had not found the CCTV footage until July of 2021. While Vicky was there, she called me and she said to me, "Oh my God, Susan, Ray was there, Sharon was there," which at the time Vicky did not like, and that's a whole different story. And she said, "There was a guy here from Search and Rescue, and he told me that they had been searching for Kenny for all these years." And I said, "Really? I didn't know that." And I was like, so in 7 years, she never reached out to Search and Rescue to get an update. Also, after I found the CCTV footage, I asked her to please contact the police, and that's on my other video that I sent Warlock Raft. You can hear more on it. But just to give you the edge of it, she said, "Well, what will he ask me?" Well, first of all, if in 7 years you never called the person handling Kenny's case in missing persons, because if she had, she would have known that the detective was a female, and the detective before her was a female. In 7 years, she never reached out to law enforcement or Search and Rescue. Does that sound like emotional to you? I'm sorry, it just, no memorials, no nothing, no, just basically sweep it under the rug. That's not emotional, people. So quit accusing the family of being emotional. We're not emotional. We're angry now because we see him on the footage, but you can see that in my other video. The guy that Atari is accusing of basically the break-in at the Reiki Center, he was caught. I don't know if that was I don't know if there's a video or if it was just a camera that had stills, but there's a still of him with a black guy, and they were together, and they robbed people at gunpoint at Bermuda and Silverado Ranch, which is 13 miles away from the Enchanted Forest Reiki Center. In the picture, if you'll notice, he's wearing a wife beater, and he's wearing jeans with slashes in them and tennis shoes. Excuse me, my dog came under there. And if you also notice, he is slender, but he's very stocky. He's got a big upper body, unlike Kenny. And if you look at the CCTV footage, you can tell that the guy in the footage is slender, just like Kenny. So what I'm supposed to believe is this guy in a town or not a town, we're a city. In a city of over 2 million plus people, the odds of one guy breaking into a Reiki center that night, and then earlier in the day, a guy with brown curly hair robbing people at gunpoint, it's the same guy. Come on, there's 2 million people. There's the blotters for Las Vegas police are crazy with armed robbery, break-ins, and stuff like that. The fact that they both have brown curly hair is about all they have in common. And if you look at, and the next thing is the guy who did it obviously had inside knowledge to the Reiki center, because he came in and he walked around the corner, around the counter, and he reached for something under the counter. I don't believe that they would leave a deposit bag out. I don't believe they'd leave their cash drawer out. So, and I doubt if it would be a gun, because it'd be hard if in an emergency to pull that gun out from there. That was kind of narrow. So most likely it was keys. So the person would have to come around the counter, grab the keys, and go into the locked back room. And there is a locked back room because I've been in there once. Go in the locked back room, unlock the door, and then, unless he worked there, and he just doesn't look like the kind of guy that they would hire there, and if he had worked there, they would have pointed him out. They would have recognized him as a former employee. They'll rat out a former employee, but they're not going to rat out their brother. But so for him to go into this back room, he'd have to know what keys fit what. I mean, he's under the gun because that alarm's it's ticking. It's getting ready to go off. You can kind of hear it in the video. It's got that tick going off, and then I don't know if it's a minute or what, and then it'll go off. And if you look, sorry about that. If you look at the CCTV footage, that break-in happened in a matter of 42 seconds. In, walk around the counter, reach for something, walk out, drop something, go out the window, and grab the iPad, which could be traced and wasn't. When I contacted burglary, when I first found it, they said that there was only one CCTV footage submitted to them, and that was the one you see, even though there was another camera in the store, and there's 2 cameras up on the roof. But they didn't submit those. Why? Why didn't they submit the footage? The thing about the CCTV footage, if you grasp it, is what do you take away from it? Were they upset that somebody came in and busted up a couple of angels and busted a window and took an iPad? They weren't concerned enough to have fingerprints done. They told them that the area was high traffic. How many people do they have go back behind their counter and reach around their modem? That doesn't make sense to me. So why didn't they get fingerprints? You guys can figure that out. As for him having these keys, he's going to go in the back room and do the keys fit a cabinet? Do they fit a filing a drawer? Do they fit a safe? I mean, whoever did it had knowledge of that place, and this guy with the armed robbery, he's just some random dude. He just happened to rob some people at gunpoint the same day, and he had brown curly hair, and so that's the only connection with him. Another thing that's strange is when you have a business and somebody breaks in, what do? You contact the police and you make a police report, and then you contact your insurance to claim the damages. What you do not do is contact the news and have them run a little story on it and talk about the spiritual orbs cleaning the bad juju out of the place. And you know what? Come on. Not even a moron can look at that video and tell that that's dust particles flying. So what is their purpose? What is their intent on trying to convince people that those are spiritual orbs floating around? It's a Reiki center, and they're all about spirituality. But if they were so in tune to spiritual, what they can't tell that they're dust particles. They're picking up vibes from dust particles. The only thing a dust particle would tell me is clean me, clean me. So that's just ridiculous in itself. Another thing is they waited 10 days. They reported the news bulletin for it was on the 25th. The Facebook one was on the 26th. They waited 10 and 11 days. So their urgency to catch this guy, it's just not there. It's a good advertisement for a Reiki center, sure. Oh, come to our Reiki center and see the spiritual orbs floating around. We won't clean our blinds so that there'll be more. Let's do that. I mean, come on, it just doesn't even make sense. Another thing that that they keep saying is the fact that the family is the family can't identify him. Well, they know. Excuse me, I'm kind of stuttering right now. My dog just jumped up here. She's right there. There she is. Now I lost my train of thought. But if you look at the guy who Artari is claiming broke into the Reiki center, he's got curly brown hair. The guy in the CCTV footage has Kenny's sideburns, has Kenny's brow, has Kenny's bald spot, has Kenny's build, has Kenny's hands. The guy in the robbery has some big beefy hands, and the guy in the CCTV footage has slender hands. And if you'll notice, when he's reaching under that counter, his hands are shaking. And that's a typical Kenny trait. If you watch his video of his home where he's talking, he's pointing like to mirrors and things like that, his hands are shaking. That's what Kenny does. It's not some tweaker. It's Kenny being nervous. That's all it is. And one thing that I really think that everybody's missing on here is, if you look at the guy that robbed the people at gunpoint, he's got tattoos on his arm, all the way down past his wrist to his hand. In the CCTV footage, and Warlock Wrath has it, because I think he has one that's slowed down. If you watch the CCTV footage, the guy, first of all, he's got slender hands, and the guy in the armed robbery does not. But as he's going out the window, you see him reach with his right hand, and his sleeve goes down, and you can clearly see a watch band and the flash of a watch face on there, and then skin. There's no tattoos there. Kenny had no tattoos. And the guy that did the armed robbery did have tattoos. As a matter of fact, if you even look at the picture, he's got his hand in his pocket, but there's something on his thumb. He might have a tattoo on his thumb. I'll bet you if you showed that picture to his family, they can point him out, because family's good at pointing out people they know. But like I said, but Artari made a video about my son, and she accused my son of robbing convenience stores in Nampa, Idaho, and then tied him to the break-in at the Enchanted Forest Reiki Center. My son was living in Idaho at the time the Reiki Center was broken into. My son is also 5'11". My son is 5'11" with reddish blonde hair, reddish brown, I guess, glasses, and a beard, a neck beard, because it just doesn't grow right. I have to ask, what kind of person, a mother, would make a video accusing my dead son, a dead boy, who never. Everybody loved this kid. He was such a good kid. This kid never did anything wrong in his entire life. And you would think a mother would would feel that way about her own kid and know better than to go after somebody's kid and attack them and accuse them of a robbery and accuse them of breaking into the Reiki center for her benefit because she was mad at me. She went after my son because she was mad at me. My son didn't deserve that. My son didn't do anything. And the reason why she did it was because when my son died, God, I hate talking about this. I'm sorry, hold on. When my son died, he took his life and he lit his house on fire. Well, I became the executor of his estate, and because there was nowhere for the mail to go, his mail was forwarded to my address. Um, and because so his name is now linked to my address in Nevada, and my name, because I was the executor of his state, is now linked to his address in Idaho. But when you Googled my son's address, it would show his age as my age. And so Atari got this idea in her head that I was a fake, that I was a phony, because I'm two people in two different states. I tried to explain it to her, but when she did the video, she put blocks so you couldn't comment. She wouldn't even let me refute it. She blocked me on everything she would. So I couldn't even refute. I couldn't even defend my son. And let me make this clear to you. She didn't put it up for one day. She had that thing for at least a week, if not two, until finally, thank God, Andrew Warlike Wrath, he did a video and he basically showed pictures of my son and he called her out on it. And she didn't apologize until she got called out on it. And that's what people do. I mean, they go and they murder people and they rob people, and then they're only sorry when they get caught. You know, they have no conscience in the first place. What kind of despicable person does that? I just don't understand. But I'm done. I'm done being bullied. I'm done people insulting my intelligence. This whole thing, I've had to put out documents and text messages and pictures and things of the Veach family just to clear my name. And trust me, they don't like me anymore, and I don't blame them. And at this point, I don't even care anymore. You'll see in my other videos, but let me make it very clear to you: the guy in the CCTV footage is Kenny. His daughter recognized him instantly. I called her up and I'm like, Vicky, it was like 5:30 in the morning. Vicky, can you do me a favor? Yeah, what? Can you Google this video and watch it? And she's like, yeah. So I'm on the phone with her, and she's like, oh my God, Susan, that's my dad. I'm like, it is, isn't it? It's Kenny. She was so upset, so upset. The poor girl had to go to work that day, and she was just torn up. So she said to me, she said, you know, Susan, there's only two people that really could know my dad, and that's me and Diana. And Diana is his ex-wife. I said, okay, no problem. I'll call Diana. I called Diana. I'm like, hey, Diana, can you do me a favor? Can you watch this video and call me back? And she's like, yeah. It's a 10-minute video. 30 minutes go by, 45, an hour. I was like, oh my God. So I called her back. She is crying. She's so upset. She said, I want to hurt him. I want to hurt him so bad. How can he do this to his daughter? How can he leave his daughter? What you guys don't understand is both Diana and I have lost a child. And for him to for him to do this to his daughter, it was unforgivable. So if I talk crap about Kenny, well, you know, I have good reason to. I'm sorry. So Diana and I talked about the CCTV footage. We talked about, you'll see the other video. It's got a lot more detail, but after I hung up from her, I said, I told her, I said, I got one more hurdle, and that's Kenny's sister, because she had told me years earlier that Kenny was dead and that his spirit had visited her. So I called up Bonnie. I said, "Hey, Bonnie, can you watch this video and call me back?" And I told her the Enchanted Forest Reiki Center. She said, "Oh yeah, Ray and Debbie on that." And I said, "Yeah, can you watch the video and call me back?" 10 minutes. I mean, instantly she calls me back and she's like, "That's Kenny, my family and life insurance policies." And I'll go into that further on the other video, but I want you to look at this video of the CCTV footage. The guy that Atari is claiming is stockier. He's younger. He's younger than the guy in the CCTV footage, because the guy in the footage has a bald spot. Kenny's identical bald spot. He also he has big hands with a tattoo. When this guy reaches for, I don't know, the door frame or the window frame to get out, his sleeve moves down and you can clearly see a watch, and the watch face flashes. The light catches the watch face and it flashes, and you can see skin, and there's no tattoo there. It's just not him. And you know what? I shouldn't have to do this anymore. I shouldn't have to defend myself when I did nothing wrong. But I appreciate you guys listening to me. I'm going to download the other two videos to Warlike Wrath. You can watch them. I'll leave them public on my channel. You can message me. I'll try to answer any questions. And you know what? If you guys see something that I missed, point it out to me. Hell, I've had people make comments and I'm like, damn, that's good. That's really observant. I didn't see that. Thank you. So I appreciate it. I mean, anything you can, corrective criticism, not bullying, not badgering me, not making videos and making fun of me. I'm done with it. But again, thank you for your time.